My name is Connie Weimer, and I started this party 12 years ago. And it's been a wonderful party, and I think tonight is going to be the best one yet. I want to, first of all, congratulate our honorees tonight, and it was important to me to say a few words about them because each one of them is someone that I have worked with. I have witnessed the incredible talents and hard work that they have brought to this community, how they have inspired others. And so I wanted to publicly thank them and congratulate them. It means a great deal to me. We started this program in 2011, which means this is our 12th year. And the nominations that we receive are so beautiful. We are so lucky to live in a community that is filled with people who want to give back. And tonight is recognition of just a few of those very special people who have not only given a great deal, but continue to give. So this is one of the most meaningful events that we do for me, because I have actually witnessed the wonderful work that they have done. So welcome. Congratulations to the honorees, and thank you to the sponsors that make tonight possible. Thank you to the staff that work so hard to make this work smoothly. And now I want to introduce one of those special persons on my staff, Susanna DeBaca. I'm sure most of you Yeah, that tells me you all know who she is and what she does. She is fabulous. And I'm just going to turn it over to her right now.
Well, thank you so much, Connie, for those wonderful comments and for being the ultimate sage. Let's give her a round of applause. Well, welcome again to everyone. As Connie said, my name is Susanna DeBaca, and I'm the President and CEO of Business Publications Corporation, which is the parent company of DSM, which is your host tonight. And I am going to be your MC for the evening, along with Christy Naus, who is the president of the Community Foundation, and with some help from Christine Riccelli, who is the editor-in-chief of DSM Magazine, and you will meet both of them shortly. So look at this wonderful crowd, and look at this absolutely wonderful venue. Thank you, Mike Lavelle. I do want to make one note. This event was originally booked for a smaller venue. You may have seen that when the registration was first announced. But the demand for this event was so great, we were actually able to move the event to the River Center so that we could accommodate everyone. And we recognize that everybody doesn't have a direct sight line, but we were so pleased to be able to accommodate everyone. So we thank you for your flexibility, and we have screens for your convenience tonight. So as you heard, Connie launched Sages Over 70 in 2011 in order to recognize individuals who have not only made major contributions professionally, but who also have done so many things personally as well. I am very, very proud to be part of a company that cares so much about our community. And I want to say very, very special thanks to our whole team who had so much tonight to do with this beautiful success. In particular, our stellar editor, Christine Riccelli, the entire team for their hard work writing and capturing each of our honorees' stories, for taking beautiful photos and creating inspiring videos, managing the technology and the logistics tonight, working with our esteemed honorees and our sponsors, plus so many other BPC team members who helped. Can we give them a round of applause for everything that they've done? You're going to hear about our honorees and from our honorees over the course of the evening, and I know that you are going to be just as inspired as I have been learning about them. They are part of a wonderful legacy of sages. As such, I want to recognize any past sages that we have honored who are here today. So if you've been honored in the past as a sage, please stand and let us give you a round of applause. We have a number of incredible people here in our midst. Thank you for all you continue to do for our community. As the event unfolds tonight, I encourage you to extend the momentum using social media. We encourage you to post your selfies, pictures of the awardees, and you can use the hashtag DSM Sages. I also want to thank Life Interpretation, Inc. for assisting us tonight, you can see, with sign language interpretation. Having signers and captions is an important part of our efforts to be inclusive in many ways, so we are pleased to welcome Tara Von Walden and Laura Mills, who are with us tonight. Let's give them a round of applause as well. I know you're signing, just clap for yourself, whatever, right? And now I am delighted to thank our presenting sponsor, the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines, whose mission is to improve quality of life for all by promoting charitable giving, connecting donors with causes that they care about, and providing leadership on important community issues. As Christy and all of them say, and we say, we're simply better together. And that is so evident by the exemplary work they have done to support our community. Christy Naus, who is the president, has been a leader in our community for many years. I'm pleased to call her a friend, and I'm pleased to welcome her to the podium.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Susanna, and our friends at DSM Magazine for inviting the Community Foundation to partner in offering this event. A funny story, as Sages was getting started, Connie Weimer came to the Community Foundation offices and invited us to be a presenting sponsor. And I don't know if you remember this, Connie, but I said, you know, we're neutral. We don't really pick one event over another to sponsor. And so I just don't know if that's the right thing to do. And she said, I'm going to think about that some more. And so did that and couldn't have been more pleased with her nudge to make the decision to be a presenting sponsor for this over the last several years. It makes great sense for the Community Foundation to honor the many sages that are in our community and have made it what it is today. As we continue to celebrate our sages, I'm pleased to share that DSM Magazine will contribute all of the proceeds from tonight's event to a fund that they started all those years ago called the Sages Over 70 Fund at the Community Foundation, and it supports our grant-making programs. So, if you're interested at all, please feel free to support that Sages Over 70 Fund as you recognize the sages tonight or the past sages. It's a great way to recognize their birthdays, their anniversaries, other milestone moments, and we will make sure that they know you've made a gift in their honor to the Sages Over 70 Fund. You know, at the Community Foundation, we're all about making connections. We connect donors to causes they care about. We connect nonprofit organizations to each other because we know that they can be even stronger when they work collectively on behalf of our community. And many times we connect those who are coming up in their career or those new to the community with those who are more seasoned in our community. And we took advantage of that spirit last week by hosting a luncheon for our current class of sages and our past sages over the years with a fun twist. And we invited the last couple of years of the 40 under 40 class to that as well, which was really fun because then we're connecting those coming up in the community with those that are a little more sage and seasoned. and provided opportunity for connection and conversation. And I know that connections have happened as a result of that because I've heard from some of the sages that they've been contacted. But many times we talk about, passing the torch from generation to generation. And I shared at that event last week, it's not about passing the torch. Our sages are still holding their flames high in this community and for this community. It's about the sparks coming off of those flames that we hope to see light fires all over our community. And I tell you what, your community foundation is right there to fan the flames. So thanks for engaging us tonight. Look forward to celebrating the sages with all of you.
Thank you, Christy, and thank you to the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines. And now I would like to thank the rest of our sponsors. We have quite a few here. Our presenting and supporting sponsors, in addition to the Community Foundation, thank you to Bellin McCormick, Edgewater, to Mercy One Des Moines Foundation, Merkel Retirement Planning, Prairie Meadows, Wesley Life Foundation, and our video sponsor, ITA Group. You'll hear from some of those later this evening. And I'd like to thank our corporate sponsors, Allers and Cooney, Bankers Trust, DMAC, Deerfield and Emmanuel Signature Community, the Des Moines Arts Center, the Great Outdoors Foundation, Greater Des Moines Partnership, Rouen Transportation, Ryan Companies, the Avenues of Ingersoll and Grand, and Strands of Strength. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for your support. We could not do this without you. And now we're going to introduce our honorees with comments from our sponsors in between. But first, I'm very pleased to be able to introduce Christine Riccelli, who is our editor-in-chief of DSM Magazine, and she's going to help us tee up this part of the program. Let's give a round of applause to Christine.
Thank you for coming, everyone. The Sages Over 70 is always one of my favorite stories and favorite events. It has been the entire time I've been editor, which is 14 years now. I appreciate thank you to all the sages for pouring your heart and soul into the community, and I appreciate you sharing your stories with us. Through the sages, when they're honored, we ask them for stories, they're interviewed, we ask them for photography, we ask them for video, we ask them. And this won't surprise you, but they're all extremely gracious, and we always appreciate hearing about their lessons learned, about their words of wisdom. They always share their stories with a great deal of grace and humor and wisdom. So the video, which I'm pleased to introduce, and I want to especially shout out to Emily Kestel of our staff who did the video for us. She's back there. Raise your hand, Emily. She's a terrific videographer. We're very lucky to have her. So we will introduce the sages with this video. Thank you again for coming. Thank you to all the sages.
Hello, I am Brent Vanderwall, President and CEO of ITA Group. On behalf of our entire team at ITA Group, I would like to congratulate Steve Chapman and all the other award recipients. Steve paved the way for how ITA Group would do business, and his legacy continues today. Many of the foundational things he created several years ago are still in place today. Inside the walls of ITA Group, Steve is considered the grandfather of our ESOP. During his tenure as CEO, we became 100% employee-owned, and that continues today and is a big part of who we are and our culture. Steve's leadership instilled in all of us that if we take care of our team will in turn take care of our clients. And
We're going to give it just 1 minute to see if we can make this work. So talk amongst yourself, and if not, we'll just continue on with the program. So it is my pleasure to introduce our first supporting sponsor, Bellin McCormick, and you can start making your way up here. Bellin McCormick is one of the leading law firms in Des Moines. I think we've all heard of them and have tremendous respect for the law firm. So please welcome Matt Callanan, who is the attorney with Bellin McCormick. Matt, come on up.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm unfortunately not as entertaining as the video, but I'll do my best. So as Susanna said, my name is Matt Callanan. I'm actually a litigation attorney at Bellin McCormick. First, on behalf of Bellin, I would like to thank BPC for putting on this great event tonight. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, and the snacks were very good already. I have to say I'm a little awestruck being up here today, which for those of you who have known me or have encountered me, doesn't happen very often at all. But when I look at this crowd and when I think of the honorees' backgrounds tonight, I see mentors and role models to so many, including my mentors and role models. And last week, as Christy mentioned, I actually joined other recent 40 Under 40 recipients for lunch with the Sages Over 70 honorees. And there was a panel of sages that answered questions, and they shared their passion and their experiences. And the remarks were very entertaining, and the stories were amazing. But more importantly, my peers and I walked away encouraged. The inspiration drawn from the Des Moines Sages was boundless. We were texting each other, telling each other how we want to get involved and do more. I know tonight will inspire all of us to continue to answer the call that these honorees have answered for so many years in our communities, to shape our city and to make it the best place it can be. And Bellin McCormick is especially excited and proud to see Steve Zumbaugh honored tonight. As you will hear this evening, Steve has been a trailblazer for the city of Des Moines and its legal practice. And I, for one, am very thankful to follow in his footsteps. But I'm not excited just for Steve or the honorees tonight. I'm actually excited for the rest of us. Now it's our time. So listen closely, be inspired, and take action. We have some great people that are being honored tonight that showed us the way, but now it's time for us to follow. And sponsor remarks, of course, cannot be complete without a shameless plug, so in your quest to do better for our city, if you find yourself needing legal help, reach out. Bellin's here for you. Bellin is here for Des Moines, and certainly if you want to sue someone, I can give you a business card. So thank you again for allowing us to sponsor this event, and congratulations to all of tonight's honorees.
Nothing like a good litigation plug, you know? So our technology is ready to test. We're going to give it another shot. We'll see if it works, and if it isn't, we're just going to go the human route all night. So let's try to cue the video again.
Hello, I am Brent Vanderwall, President and CEO of ITA Group. On behalf of our entire team at ITA Group, I would like to congratulate Steve Chapman and all the other award recipients. Steve paved the way for how ITA Group would do business, and his legacy continues today. Many of the foundational things he created several years ago are still in place today. Inside the walls of ITA Group, Steve is considered the grandfather of our ESOP. During his tenure as CEO, we became 100% employee-owned, and that continues today and is a big part of who we are and our culture. Steve's leadership instilled in all of us that if we take care of our team will in turn take care of our clients, and we still operate under that business model today. Thank you, Steve, for all you've done for ITA Group. You have easily impacted thousands of employee owners because of your leadership. Thank you also for your accomplishments in our community. You have made a big difference in many, many lives. Thank you.
When I was in 6th grade, I was reading at a barely 4th grade level. And my 6th grade teacher noted that I could replicate, look at a picture and redraw it from memory, and I could instantly memorize maps. she kept me after school my entire 6th grade year for about 20 minutes a day and had me read and learn to read. She at one point called in my mother and said, whatever he wants to read, you let him read. And I became shortly addicted to comic books, but that changed. By the time I was out of 6th grade, I was reading at grade level. By the time I was out of 7th grade, I was an accelerated student. I was in advanced classes by the time I graduated from high school, and honors by the time I graduated from the University of Iowa. I'm sitting here today because of Mrs. Thompson.
My father passed away when I was 15. He died of a heart attack at the age of 47. So that caused me at that point in time to help raise my younger brothers and sisters, help by working a little bit while before school and after school. I held a number of odd jobs. I worked for a building contractor. I was a milkman, of all things, delivering milk to people's front steps at 4:30 in the morning. So it just forced me to be more organized and maybe at an earlier age than I would have normally have been.
What brings me the most joy is family. We have 2 children, and we have 3 remarkable granddaughters. I'm prejudiced, but they're really remarkable young women. And what gives Kathy and me the most joy at this point in our lives, and maybe the most joy ever, is having those granddaughters come to our home. We entertain them for a weekend, and we have lots of fun, and they wear us out. And then we put them on a plane and send them back home to be with their parents to take care of them. Children are great, but grandchildren are the greatest.
When you do get older, it's like each day, it's not like a day of the week. Every day is like Saturday. I was at a concert at Hoyt Sherman, and the performer was saying, wow, this sounds like the weekend. And I thought to myself, well, we're all retired, so it probably is. Each day is just a joy, and it's bright. And when I get up in the morning, I just open the curtains and just let the light in, and just feel so blessed to see another day.
How do I want to be remembered, or what I want to be remembered for? It's kind of a question you hope never comes to you. I always liked when people said, what are your future plans? I want to be remembered as a good son to my parents. I want to be remembered as a good husband to my wife and father to my children. But I want to be remembered as someone that was accountable. That when I made a commitment, I delivered. I never wanted to serve on a board to be on a board. I wanted to be on that board to do everything I could to make the organization stronger.
That I was a good listener, and I tried to make a difference.
I hope people can honestly say to other people, he was sincere. I was here. And that the day I was born and the day that I died, that I had substance in my hyphen.
I believe everyone should read an hour a day that has nothing to do with what they do for a profession. The second thing is a piece of advice my father used to give, the sort of thing that when you're a kid drives you nuts. Every problem has a solution if you look for it long enough, you take the time, you persist.
When we are dealing with highly controversial issues, that we respect others who have an opinion different than ours. And we take the time to sit down with those people, as difficult as it can be, and try to understand where our differences are. I learned so much by the leadership style of Robert Ray, because he brought people together of differing views.
Value relationships and understand how important relationships are. Build strong teams. Surround yourself with people who are smarter and better and more talented than you are. Work at becoming a good listener. Step out of your comfort zone. Do things that you might not think you would ever do. I never thought I'd be a school board member. I never thought I'd be a mayor. Never thought I'd be a director or a commissioner.
I think have an open mind and be willing to have an adventure and try something new. That's what we did. I mean, I had no idea that I'd be involved in city beautification for 20 years.
Remember Mark Twain's quote, that there are two important days in your life: the day you are born and the day you find out why. And that you begin working on that, because we all have a purpose.
At this age of, so each day I think about, okay, what's going to happen today? What am I going to do today? When I was younger, I would say, oh, I can do that tomorrow. And that's, you think about that when you're younger, I can do that tomorrow. But at this stage, it's like, I'm doing it now, because there may not be a tomorrow. I have this list that that I'm checking off the things I wanted to do. I've done zip lining, and that was scary, but every opportunity that I get, it's like I'm living. I mean, you begin to live.
Time goes so fast. I don't even know how I'm sitting in this position today. It went so fast. And you have so much you can do. But if you don't do it, you're going to run out of time. So I would encourage everyone, if you want to be involved in the community, get involved now. Find your passion and make a difference. If you want to play a sport or play an instrument or meet more people, I don't care what it is. Time's going fast. Do it. Make a commitment to yourself. Today's the day.
Today is the day. I love that. So let's begin. Our first honoree this evening is Okeo Abdul-Samad. There are many who see Okeo as an ambassador of peace and justice, and there are those who have celebrated him as a defender of democracy, said Mary Chapman, who's the Vice President Emeritus at DMACC, who did not know she would be named a sage while she was writing in support of another sage. She said, but I see Okeo as a man for all seasons, leaving a rich civil and human rights legacy for our community and for Iowa. Most people know Okeo Abdul-Samad as the longtime Iowa State Representative from the 35th District, just re-elected, a member of the Des Moines School Board, and founder and CEO of Creative Visions Human Development Institute in Des Moines, and founder and president of the African American Islamic Association. Quite a long list. But behind his long list of accomplishments is a story of struggle and resilience. As a teenager, he was expelled from 2 high schools, but the future activist eventually found his way to the local chapter of the Black Panthers and started volunteering for their free breakfast program for children living in poverty, which launched his lifelong pursuit of social justice and community service. His experiences and expertise now make him a go-to source for journalists and community leaders who seek him out for context when there's news involving violence, racism, or the death of a community member. Sadly, his only son, Okeo White Abdul-Samad, was shot and killed in 1997 when he was 18. Abdul-Samad has been widely recognized for his contributions by the Washington, D.C.-based Caring Institute, whose board chair was the late Senator Bob Dole. He helped to form Iowa's first Black Legislative Caucus. He co-founded the first Black student union in the state. He was the vice chair of the Iowa Democratic Black Caucus, and he has been the recipient of countless awards for his citizenship and his leadership. Among his sage advice, be honest with yourself so you can be honest with others. Please join me in congratulating Okeo Abdul-Samad, and Okeo, you can come on up.
I know you can't tell I'm blushing. But let me tell you, I am. First of all, let me give honor to God. That's not to offend anyone, but that's my discipline. Secondly, I want to thank Connie Weimer, someone I love very dearly, you know, and DSM, but thank you. We stand on your shoulders and have for many years. Thank you. I'm going to be brief. They told me to be. I just got reelected and they told me to be brief. But anyway, the key, I want to start off because, you know, there's a young man who wanted to go give his mother a gift. And he didn't know what to get her, so he went by this pet store and he saw this beautiful bird. And when he saw this beautiful bird, you know, he said, that's what I'm going to get my mother. So he went in there and he went into the pet store and he said, wow, I want to get this bird for my mother. And the owner said, this is good. The bird speaks like 4 different languages, you know, really a good bird and everything else. He said, wrap it up. He sent it to his mother. And when he got there, you know, to his mother's house, when, you know, he finally made it there and he walked in the house, he looked at Mom, he kept looking around for the bird, and he finally said, Mom, did you get my gift? She said, what was your gift? He said, the bird. She said, yeah, he tasted good. And he looked at his mom and said, that bird was intelligent. That bird spoke 4 different languages. She said, well, the bird should have said something. I say that because that's where we're at today in life. It's an honor to be a sage, but it's an honor to be in Iowa. It's an honor to be here, to know that we have to start speaking up and we have to start saying different things. We have to stand for what's right. We have to begin to be able to pass down. And I know when you talked about the torch, as sages, we no longer can pass the torch. We have to light other people's torches so that we can do this together and stand together. But we have some issues in Iowa that we can solve. It's so doable to do so. And when I say it to the point that it's not to the point that I was born in 1951 or that one day I would pass from here and somebody put a date. What counts is that hyphen in between. What did we do in that hyphen? No matter where we're at, we have to be able to make that hyphen and give it substance, because that's what it's all about. When I was in the Panther Party and the children were going and they were hungry, we started a free breakfast program. We didn't complain. When we turned around and wanted to, you know, get kids graduating and going to college because it was a problem, I met with Stephen Leak, the former president of Iowa State University, and we started the 4U Promise program where we adopted Moulton Elementary and King Elementary, and we have followed these young people all the way through to the 12th grade, and our first cohorts going to Iowa State was 13 individuals that never were going to go to college. We just had some of those individuals graduate. They got a full ride. It's time for us to do, and I'm keeping time because my campaign manager over there, when my timer is up, she goes. So I got to keep an eye. But when DMAC was going to close that Sabin school and was going to move downtown and leave us, Connie, in this community, there was Dr. Loss, Dean Hamlet, Kalonji Sadiq, Sekou Mtiari, and another young upstart, K.O. Abdul-Samad. We protested. We went into the board meetings, and we interrupted the board meetings. You know, we turned around and showed how important it was to keep DMAC where it was at today. They finally gave in to us because they were tired of us showing up. And DMAC now has collaborated with you and I, and now you can go to DMAC and get a 4-year degree because you had 5 individuals that decided to speak up. We have to speak up. I close with this because I accept this honor for those who are not here, those who are close to me that would have been in the same age bracket, but a lot of them died. Kalonji Sadiq is one of those individuals. He's not here, so I accept it. The other one that I have to accept it on behalf of is my mother. because without my mom, I wouldn't be here. And I'm so glad she spoke up, because many times individuals were telling me that I wasn't going to make it, that I was going to die, that I wasn't smart enough to go to college. In fact, one counselor told me I wasn't smart enough even to go to high school. My mother said I didn't raise no dummy. She said, don't let people define you. And ever since then, I refused to be defined by anyone. And I decided that it was okay for me to do me, but it was also okay to learn as I go. As I take my seat, I also have to honor the young lady who is my younger sister, who thinks she's my older sister, that stays by me, and the days that things were rough, she fixes the best waffles I ever ate in my life. And that's my sister Stephanie, you know. I close with this. April told me I had to come to the 21st century and start using my phone. So tonight, April, I'm using the phone. All right. But anyway, I want to close with that. It says, with hope and love, we can balance the physical and emotional roller coaster of life. Eventually, the hope and love will be the foundation to control the hurt and pain. And if we join together, we can support each other, that we can turn that hurt and pain into power and bring the joy and the life that we need to live, and to be able to give a path to our babies to become the sages in the future, so that we will be proud and they won't have to go through what we have to go through, that we will be the ones that set the bar very high, and they will be the one to carry it out. And then we will really make the phrase, I were nice, not a buzz phrase, but a reality. Thank you very much.
All right. Mary Chapman is simply an invaluable resource for this community. Her insights, kindness, and ability to make things happen have enriched us all, said Jeff Fleming, Des Moines Arts Center Director, in support of Mary's nomination. Growing up poor in Alabama, Dr. Mary Chapman realized education could help overcome poverty's limitations and became the first person in her family to graduate from both high school and college. Now 74, Mary has spent her life dedicated to education, economic achievement, affordable housing, and providing hope for people experiencing poverty and other barriers to success. Mary Chapman has been a trailblazer in everything she's worked on during her time living here in Greater Des Moines region. Starting out as a public school teacher, education specialist, and principal, she then served Des Moines Area Community College for 23 years as executive dean of the urban campus and then vice president of community and workforce partnerships. Upon retiring in 2013, she was named vice president emeritus. She established programs for youth and at-risk adults, most notably the Evelyn K. Davis Center for Working Families. She helped improve community reentry for female offenders from the Iowa Correctional Institution for Women. Her deeply meaningful work has been recognized through her induction in both the Iowa African American Hall of Fame and the Iowa Women's Hall of Fame. Her sage advice includes this reflection. In the past, when I was asked this question, my advice was more career-based, but now my advice is focused on living every day to the fullest. Live each day embracing and valuing every moment you can with family and friends. That, indeed, is sage advice. Please help me in congratulating Dr. Mary Chapman.
I have to walk slowly because as you age, you know, you kind of lose some of the mobility. So I'm examining that. I want to begin by saying that I was born in Alabama and spent many of my formative years there. My parents migrated north to Indiana where they felt they could get better health care for my brother. I remember traveling back to Alabama to visit family, and as my mother prepared for the trip, she would pack a box with fried chicken, white bread, which we don't do that anymore, her pound cake, and we were off. And we never stopped unless my father needed gas or someone had to go to the bathroom. Then that meant we had to find some safe place along the roadside. After seeing the movie Green Book, many actions of my parents made sense. I never heard conversations in our home regarding what was happening in the South. Much of this history and Jim Crow I've learned since becoming an adult. So this last June in my 70s, I took a road trip through civil rights history, living through this period in real time, and now experiencing the rhetoric, the anger, and the policies that are threatening the rights that were fought for. It just felt like that period was returning. So I had to take this personal journey to help me remember the whys. Why it matters to have courage to use your voice, to speak out for what is right. Why it matters to not only be in the room, but to have a seat at the table. Why it's important to use your influence to shape policy. Why it matters to use your power to create opportunities and open doors for others. I started my trip at the National Center for Civil and Human Rights in Atlanta, and I was greeted with quotes by Dr. King and President Mandela saying, "Never doubt that a small group of powerful, committed citizens can change the world. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." Next was Nashville and the National Museum of African American Music, where I had an interactive music experience across generations. That experience was inspirational and educational. In other words, one nation under a groove. The Mississippi Civil Rights Museum was next, with this haunting valley of fears, the area which held the exhibits memorializing and honoring lynching victims. I can still hear the continuous loop of "This Little Light of Mine," a song that I sang as a child in church. The journey wouldn't have been complete without a stop in Selma to walk across that historic Edmund Pettus Bridge, and I could feel the spirit of John Lewis getting in good trouble. Then on to the Civil Rights Memorial Center in Montgomery, and Dexter Avenue Church, and the Rosa Parks Museum. The last stop was the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, where through a display of Jim Crow laws, I was reminded of the barriers when Birmingham was a city of two worlds. My road trip through civil rights history was beyond inspiring. I share my journey as my story to inspire and encourage you to use your voice to speak out for social and racial justice, and just doing the right thing regarding how others are treated. Leverage your sphere of influence to continue building a community of leaders who advocate for civil and human rights for all and promote a vibrant global community that reflects hope, fairness, inclusion, and the kind of future where our current and next generations will live their best lives, being all that they can be without barriers of bigotry and the family of isms. I don't take for granted the many successes I've had, and I feel that I'm living my best life. I stand on the shoulders of giants throughout history, as well as in my community. who have given blood, sweat, and tears for me to be here this evening. I have met some great people here in Des Moines, and many are in this room this evening. It is with the deepest gratitude I thank you for the part you played in my life's journey of successes and memories. I believe I was put on the earth to make a difference. I want my legacy to be remembered as someone who used her voice and her shoulders to help others succeed. My journey continues.
I would now like to welcome our next supporting sponsor, Merkle Retirement Planning, which is one of the leading financial planning and retirement firms in the area. Please welcome Rochelle Smith, who is the creative director.
How lucky are we to hear these inspiring stories this evening? At Merkle Retirement Planning, we're inspired by the families and individuals we work with each and every day. We create comprehensive, customized retirement plans that are more than just investments. Just this week, I was emailing with one of the families we worked with. I noticed she hadn't been getting back to me over the last few weeks. Monday, she promptly emailed me back the following: Rochelle, I apologize for not getting back to you sooner. Things have gotten a little out of control with our lives as we have decided to start traveling again. We just returned home Friday from, wait for it, Antarctica. In her email, she included a photo of her family in a very, very small boat in front of a glacier. But you could see the joy radiating in her face with her husband, and she inspired me to add Antarctica just in a very bigger boat to my bucket list. One of our retirement planners was telling me earlier this week that he ran into a woman that we work with. She recently lost her husband, but he said the conversation was not doom and gloom. She said she was excited to tell him that she had just gotten back from a Disney cruise with her granddaughters where they both dressed up as fairies. I tell you these stories because at Merkle Retirement Planning, we focus on building relationships with the families and individuals we work with, as well as being a partner with them through retirement. Based on their retirement vision, we help them create a retirement plan that focuses on all aspects of retirement, including income, taxes, healthcare, investments, and legacy, giving our families and individuals we work with the opportunity to fulfill their dreams and inspire others around them. From everyone at Merkle Retirement Planning, congratulations to tonight's honorees, and we're grateful to be a part of this inspiring event.
Our next honoree is Steve Chapman. In today's world, Steve would be best described as a servant leader. He's hardwired to give back. He has a unique leadership style that sets a high standard of excellence while instilling in others the confidence and belief that more can be achieved, shared Tom Mahoney, retired president and CEO of ITA Group, in support of Steve's nomination. Throughout his career, Steve served as CEO, chair of the ITA Group, and CEO of Ruan Transportation Management Systems. He is credited for leading Ruan through an economic downturn followed by a period of significant growth, including investments in new services, technology, sustainability initiatives, and safety programs. While the net worth of ITA Group was enhanced tenfold during Steve's leadership, he transformed air service in central Iowa into a strategic asset which has done wonders for business expansion and retention. Some of his proudest accomplishments are not related to building businesses, but rather building this community. This includes leading the way for the formation of the Greater Des Moines Partnership in 1999, chairing the United Way Board with a record-breaking annual campaign, and co-chairing a $16 million Mercy One Cancer Center campaign, meeting this ambitious fundraising goal in the midst of a pandemic. Although he's officially retired, he's never stopped giving back, serving on boards of companies and nonprofit organizations and raising money for charities helping those in need. As Steve shared, I never looked at retirement as meaning a time to do nothing. It simply gave me more time to do everything I wanted to do. Among Steve's sage advice, I was taught that bad things happen to bad people. I learned through my volunteer efforts that bad things happen to some very good people because they simply have no one to help and support them. Steve, we're very fortunate that you've stepped up to help so many in our community. Congratulations. Please come.
I feel a little bit like I already got double time off that video. The only thing I would like is that grandfather piece to be the father. I would like to start by thanking you all for attending this very special event. I would also like to congratulate the other honorees on their well-deserved recognition. And it's important that I thank Shannon Cofield for nominating me, and for the nominating committee and the selection committee for making this honor possible. Through the years, I've been very fortunate to have received recognition in this community for many different reasons. But this is the first time when age is a qualifier. I mean, I appreciate being honored for this, but frankly, it's the type of thing you really are not in a hurry to receive. During my career, I was often asked, what are your plans for the future? What are your goals? But for this honor, I was asked, what would you like to be remembered for? What would you like to be remembered for? Ouch. Maybe I'd like to be remembered for living long enough to receive it. It's hard to believe that I've turned 70 years old, actually 71. But as I've aged, I've come to appreciate one of Mark Twain's great quotes. Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Nonetheless, surpassing the 70-year mark has its benefits. It's provided me the opportunity to stand here and join many remarkable individuals for whom I have the utmost respect for as sages over 70. Like many of you, I first learned the importance of giving back from my parents. They were outstanding examples. I also learned the importance of philanthropy from the generation of business leaders before me who paved the way for us and for our generation. They made it clear, if you want to be involved, then you be ready to commit to putting in the effort and the time necessary to have a positive impact on this community. It is because of them that I am standing here today. I began volunteering my time in our community when I was in my late 20s. At that time, I really got to know some of our greatest community leaders. I was fortunate. They welcomed young people, and they made it clear we were going to give back more than just our time. They were people like John Fitzgibbon, Bill Knapp, Marvin Pomerantz, Connie Weimer, and so many others who taught me what being a community leader really meant. They taught me several things. First, that volunteering your time is a great thing to do, and it's vital to assisting others in our community. But it really is a first step in committing to our community's growth and success. The second step is learning how to raise funds so ideas can become realities. And they made it clear to me, you never ask something of someone else until you've already written your own check. They told me that while my check may not be as big as theirs, it was just as important. And they also explained that over time, those checks would grow along with my career. In fact, they didn't forget about that second part, about the growth in the checks. Marvin called me one day. This was after I had achieved a fair amount of success in my career. Not mincing words, as he rarely did, Marvin asked for my support of an educational initiative within our community. So I told him I'd write a check for X amount. He quickly said, "Come on, Steve, that doesn't hurt. I want you to feel some pain writing that check." Those are the type of leaders I learned from. As I began my journey of community service, I met two others who were equally committed to making a difference, Steve Zamba and Suku Radia. We became close friends, and over the years, if one of us became involved in a cause, you could be sure the other two would be as well. Our friendship became very important in my life, and it remains so today. We can all be very proud of our community and all that it has and continues to accomplish. From having one of the most successful United Way campaigns in the nation, to funding the arts, to outstanding economic development initiatives, it was made possible by the generosity of so many people. People who took a stand and provided exceptional leadership. But success of the past is simply history. For our city's success to continue, it's imperative that the community leaders of today and tomorrow continue to teach the importance of giving back to our younger volunteers, just as I was taught many years ago. And the great news is, more young people today want to be involved in this community than ever before. I'm sure that those that taught me so much so many years ago would be proud. As a sage over 70, to be recognized for embodying a lifelong spirit of generosity, mentorship, and community leadership is something I will always take great pride in. Thank you so much for this honor.
Our next sponsor is Mercy One Des Moines Foundation, and it is my pleasure to welcome Shannon Cofield, who is the president of Mercy One Des Moines Foundation. Shannon, come on up. There you are, right behind me.
Well, thank you, Susanna, and congratulations to all of our honorees tonight. As Susanna said, I'm Shannon Cofield, and I'm president of Mercy One Des Moines Foundation. And our mission is to ensure vital funding for quality care, clinical excellence, and access to all Central Iowans. Much has been said tonight about us standing on the shoulders of giants, and it is absolutely true. But we also salute tonight's honorees for their philanthropic endeavors and all that they have done to ensure that nonprofits like Mercy One and others that are in this room and are represented have really ensured their sustainability over time. I would like to especially also thank Steve Chapman. We probably have a mutual admiration society going here for all of his work with Mercy One. Not only did he help us raise $16 million for the Mercy One Richard Deming Cancer Center, but he served on the Mercy One board for many, many years and provided outstanding and excellent leadership. Over the past 18 years, I have had the tremendous honor, it has really been a lifetime honor to work alongside these sages, each and every one of them. And so if you would just allow me, I would like to say one thing about what I have learned from each of them over that time. Akeo, what comes to mind when I think of you is someone who exemplifies the power of forgiveness and reminds us that the path to peace is love. Always love. Mary, your smile lights up a room, and when I am in your presence, I feel true joy. I am reminded how important it is to be positive. Steve Chapman, you're one of the most principled people I have ever met. You set the bar high, and you have always had high expectations of me, and that has made me a stronger leader and a better person because of it. Jean, I'm reminded in watching you that work life and personal life is life. Rarely can people blend the two and most compartmentalize, but that is a true gift. Janice, there you are. You are extraordinarily kind and exceedingly gracious. Every interaction I've had with you reminds me of my Southern roots, and yet you are strong. And to me, you are the consummate steel magnolia. Ivan, I recall working with you as someone who is thoughtful and pensive. Because of that, those personal attributes have no doubt driven your unyielding commitment for the betterment of the Latino community. Steve Zumba, you have an incredibly strategic mind, and with that, I find you to be tenacious and determined. So very determined. From you, I have learned, don't ever, 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 ever give up. I can say with unwavering confidence, these sages are not only wise, but they are warriors because the causes they believe in are making a better life for us all. We are fortunate to be in their presence tonight. Mercy One thanks all of you sages and for your leadership and your generosity, from your time, talent, and treasure. And please enjoy this very inspiring evening. And thank you, DSM Magazine.
I'd like to thank our next sponsor, Prairie Meadows. Since it opened in 1989, Prairie Meadows has played an important role in central Iowa. They are a nonprofit, locally managed business, one of only 2 nonprofit casinos in the entire nation. Prairie Meadows promotes economic development, jobs, agriculture, and tourism in the state of Iowa. We are grateful to them for their support. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, Prairie Meadows. Our next honoree is Eugene Meyer. I can't think of anyone who would be more deserving to be honored as a sage over 70 than Gene Meyer, said Karen Novak Swalwell in Gene's nomination to be a sage. She continued, when something important and significant is happening in central Iowa, you know that Gene has had a hand in making it happen. Gene Meyer is a Jessup, Iowa native who's devoted his life to supporting Iowa and Iowans. He's well known for his service on the West Des Moines Community School Board of Education, as mayor of West Des Moines, and as president of the Greater Des Moines Partnership from 2012 to the end of 2020 when he retired. But what many people do not know is that he started out in law enforcement. Fascinated by the state troopers and local police chief in his small town, he was inspired And so in 1982, he was one of 250 officers selected yearly by the Federal Bureau of Investigation for training at the FBI National Academy. Later, he served as commissioner for the Iowa Department of Criminal Investigation. Gene has been deeply involved with so many organizations, among them the Des Moines Symphony, the Des Moines Embassy Club, Drake University, and the Greater Des Moines Partnership, many, many others, and he's received so many awards, I cannot even count all of them here. No matter what position he has held in government, in business, or as a community volunteer, he has constantly contributed to the betterment of his community, said Gary Palmer, President and CEO of Prairie Meadows. And among Gene's sage advice is, value all your relationships, whether it's with your work, your family, or your community. Don't burn bridges. It's a long road with no curves. Please join me in congratulating Gene Meyer.
Well, good evening, everyone. You know, it's an honor to be here with all of you tonight, and I want to thank DSM Magazine for hosting the Sages Over 70 Awards and this event this evening and recognizing me as a Sage. Thanks to those who nominated me, Gary Palmer, Jamie Pollard, Jay Byers, who organized the application process, Karen Novak, Tom Mahoney, and Suku Radia. I just hope none of your noses grew as you wrote those letters of support. In all seriousness, I'm tremendously grateful. I also want to take a moment to congratulate the fellow honorees here tonight, Akeo Abdul Samad, Mary Chapman, Steve Chapman, Janice Ruan, Ivan Weber, and Steve Zumba. Over the years, I've had a wonderful time and opportunity to work with each one of them on various projects across the metropolitan region. I also want to recognize my family that's here in attendance this evening. My wife of 47 years, Kathy, my son Matt and his wife Alicia, my daughter Abby and her husband Ben and their daughter and our granddaughter Bella, my brother David and his wife Lisa, and my sister Carla and her husband Pat. You know, I was kind of watching the evening unfold, and the thought hit me, what could make this evening any better? What would that be? And I couldn't think of anything until I was just walking up here a minute ago, and it struck me what would be nice. That is, if I was taking the stage to accept the award for 40 under 40. You know, when you get to be my age, you start to reflect on lessons learned in life. And I've been very fortunate to have a long and fulfilling career, including my many years at the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation, serving as mayor of West Des Moines, president of the West Des Moines School Board, president of the Greater Des Moines Partnership, and commissioner of the Iowa Department of Public Safety. The lessons I learned, and sometimes the hard way, are too numerous to share in a brief 5-minute presentation. But I do want to share a few lessons that relate to our community, metropolitan Greater Des Moines. My former colleague and still very good friend, Jay Byers, often likes to talk about the momentum that our community is experiencing in terms of metrics like population growth and rankings that show we have one of the best communities in which to live and do business. I'm here to tell you that those things don't happen by accident. These things have happened because our community has worked together to make them happen. Relationships need to be built. Trust needs to be earned. And everyone must have the mutual goal of working together for the greater good of the metropolitan region. Those of us who fit into the SAGES category are old enough to remember a time when that didn't happen. It was every city for itself. It was a spirit of, we're number one, and we are only going to look out for number one. The Greater Des Moines Partnership, under the volunteer leadership of some of my fellow honorees, played a very vital role in changing the mindset from Greater Des Moines being a collection of municipalities to a region that works together across jurisdictional lines. As mayor of West Des Moines, I witnessed the transition from the me first to a spirit of cities not only working for their own good, but doing so while understanding and considering the greater good. I witnessed this spirit of collaboration even more closely through my role at the Greater Des Moines Partnership. We've learned over the years that what happens in one city and is good for one city is good for all the cities in the metropolitan region. We've learned that downtown Des Moines is just not Des Moines' downtown. It's all of ours downtown, and it's the gateway to the metropolitan region. So many projects have happened that benefit all of us. No one city or no one county could do all this in isolation or by themselves. The spirit of collaboration does not happen between entities. The spirit of collaboration does not just happen between cities. It also happens between the public, private, and nonprofit entities. It happens between CEOs of local and national corporations. We collectively look for opportunities that are good for the entire region, and we work together to make those ideas become a reality. It has taken and will continue to take great visioning, radical regional collaboration to ensure our continued progress. It's incredible what we have been able to accomplish in these 20-plus last years. It's been thrilling to see the growth of Greater Des Moines, and I'm honored that I've been a small part of making that happen. I want to close with two stories. One happened while I was Commissioner of Public Safety, and it involved everyone's good friend, Suku Radia. Everybody who knows Suku knows that Suku loves to drive fast. I said, you know, Suku, as Commissioner of Public Safety, the state patrol falls under my jurisdiction. And it's my hope that sometime in my 4-year tenure that maybe a trooper will finally give you a ticket. Well, one cold February morning, I'm driving into work. It's about 6:15. The phone rings, and Mary Radia can testify to this because she was in the car with Suku. Suku says, Gino, it finally happened. And I said, what happened, Suku? And he said, I just got a speeding ticket in Jasper County from one of your troopers. And I said, Suku, that makes my day. In fact, Suku, that makes my month. I said, can you give me the badge number of the trooper that wrote you the ticket? And he said, well, what do you want that for? And I said, because I'm naming him Trooper of the Year. The second story happened while I was mayor of West Des Moines. And I'm down at the Cub Club, back when they used to serve lunch. I'm having lunch, minding my own business, and in walks everyone's good friend, Michael Gartner. Michael walks up to my table and rather loudly says, well, look at this. Aren't we humbled and honored that the mayor of West Des Moines would come to downtown Des Moines to have lunch? I stood up and I said in a loud voice, Michael, I had no choice. All the restaurants in West Des Moines are full. Now, of course, I didn't know this, but he eventually got even because I left him speechless that day, and you don't leave Michael Gartner speechless very often. So I'm introducing Michael at the Greater Des Moines Partnership dinner, and he's going to introduce our speaker for the evening. So I get done introducing Michael, and I share that story about being at the Cub Club. Michael walks up to the microphone and says, before I introduce our speaker for the evening, I have to tell the whole audience something about Gene Meyer. And it really bothers him, but he won't talk about it. You know, when Gene drives down George M. Mills Parkway in West Des Moines, he understands that George M. Mills was the mayor of West Des Moines. When Gene drives down E.P. True Parkway, he understands that E.P. True was the mayor of West Des Moines. And it really bothers Gene that there's not been a street named after him. Gene, I've got some advice for you. You want a street named after you in West Des Moines? Change your name to 42nd Street. I just want to thank everybody again for this great honor, and thank you for indulging me in these stories, and thank you for everything you do to make Greater Des Moines a great place to live and work. Thank you.
The next supporting sponsor that I would like to thank is Wesley Life Foundation. Please welcome Sophia Ahmad, who is the Vice President of Philanthropy for Wesley Life Foundation. Sophia?
Thank you, Susanna. As Susanna said, my name is Sophia Ahmad, and I'm so pleased to serve as Vice President of Philanthropy at Wesley Life Foundation. Thank you to Business Publications for this lovely evening. Wesley Life's vision is to revolutionize the experience of aging. And through Wesley Life Foundation, we secure vital funding to meet critical mission needs, including addressing food insecurity through our Meals on Wheels community nutrition program, upholding the Good Samaritan promise, which ensures that our residents have a forever home with us, and providing support for compassionate person-directed hospice care. Sages, we are inspired by you, and we thank you for your leadership, your philanthropic impact, and your community advocacy. You challenge our notions about aging and show us that growing older can mean growing bolder, that aging can mean embracing and shaping what is next for our region. We honor Akeo Abdul Samad, who inspires generation through his public service and social activism, and Mary Chapman, who has enabled countless students to achieve their God-given potential. Steve Chapman, who was instrumental in virtually every single public-private big dream initiative that shaped the landscape of Greater Des Moines. Jean Meyer, who has guided the economic development of our metro and still actively advises young leaders today. Janice Ruan, a philanthropist whose guidance and generosity has impacted and beautified our region. And recently, her leadership level gift for the Meals on Wheels campaign invigorated Wesley Life to raise $9.5 million to triple our hot meal delivery ministry for veterans of all ages and older adults in central Iowa, such as Miss Barbara, who is one of our clients pictured on the banner in the back corner there. There's Ivan Weber, who literally wrote the book on law for Iowa. And finally, Steve Zumbaugh, who with a group of fellow community leaders reimagined the downtown Des Moines that we all enjoy today. So how can we truly honor these sages who have given so much to us and to our community? We can pay their service and philanthropy forward. At Wesley Life Foundation, we believe that that includes supporting vulnerable older adults who have for so many years cared for us, for our families, and for our communities, and providing them with opportunities to pursue purpose and to pursue joy. We encourage you to learn more at wesleylife.org/foundation. And finally, we also thank the ultimate sage, Connie Weimer, who enriches our lives through her wisdom and influence, and who envisioned this important event that honors older Iowans, that positively shape our quality of life. Thank you, Connie. Sages, congratulations again. Thank you, and enjoy your evening.
Our next honoree is Janice Ruan. Janice Ruan is a true champion of our community. She's been a wonderful supporter of the arts and a true champion for sustainability, shared nominator Suku Radia. Janice, along with her late husband, John Ruan III, knew they wanted to take on a major philanthropic effort for Des Moines. They were both avid gardeners. Des Moines streetscape beautification was a natural fit for the couple. They led the ambitious charge for the Fleur Beautification Project, engaged a world-class landscape architect, and made Fleur Drive a beautiful gateway for our visitors to be welcomed and wowed as they traveled into the city from the airport. Additionally, all the wonderful planters which adorn Des Moines were Janice's idea. Janice has been equally instrumental in significant local beautification projects, including those located in downtown Des Moines, the avenues of Ingersoll and Grand, the Greater Des Moines Botanical Garden, and the restoration and transformation of the former downtown Des Moines Library into the World Food Prize Hall of Laureates, featuring its spectacular gardens. Janice serves on the boards of directors for Salisbury House and Gardens, the Avenues of Ingersoll and Grand, and is a board member emeritus of the Greater Des Moines Botanical Garden, Des Moines Metro Opera, Friends of Des Moines Parks, and the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines. Allison Fleming shared this reflection in support of Janice's nomination. Janice is the quiet force behind so many wonderful projects in Des Moines. She gets things done without seeking personal accolades and is a marvelous example of how people can and should work together. Among Janice's sage advice, be open to people and moments that point you in a new direction. When I've welcomed new experiences and opportunities, it has really enriched my life. Janice, your vision and tireless efforts have indeed enriched all of our lives in Greater Des Moines. Congratulations, and please come.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, and I'm so happy to be here and hearing all these wonderful speeches. I'm truly honored and humbled to be recognized tonight as a sage over 70. I would like to thank Connie Weimer and the Des Moines Business Record for including me among this year's distinguished group of honorees, who all have made such a significant impact on our community. I would also like to extend my gratitude to Suku Radia, who kindly took me in, led my nomination for tonight. There's Mary. Throughout my life, I have been very blessed and had significant opportunities to help make Des Moines a vibrant place to live. I'm truly honored to be honored tonight. For more than 50 years, I partnered with my husband, John, on various projects that were truly meaningful to us. Having both grown up in Des Moines, raising our family here, and now watching my 5 grandchildren grow up in the same community, I have always felt passionate about Des Moines and ensuring it remains one of the best places to live, work, and play. Over the past 20 years, my passion and philanthropic interests have focused significantly on city beautification. As a master gardener and member of Des Moines Founders Garden Club, I have long been interested in gardens and green spaces. However, it was after meeting Douglas Hare, the Chicago-based landscape architect responsible for the beautification of Michigan Avenue, the Magnificent Mile, that I truly became inspired to think bigger and address the need for beautification in downtown Des Moines. I was excited by the idea that Des Moines could also be transformed by introducing Des Moines with green spaces throughout our city streets. Soon after meeting Doug and expressing my interest in city beautification projects, I was asked to chair Mayor Preston Daniels' Landscape Task Force. It has been an incredibly rewarding journey from that day forward as we began to envision, fundraise for, and then implement numerous projects, including the planted medians on Fleur Drive, which provided a welcoming corridor between the Des Moines Airport and downtown Des Moines. The installation of Egyptian planters in downtown Des Moines surrounding the Rouen Center, 2 Rouen, and the Marriott Hotel. The beautification of Ingersoll Avenue, which began as a 1-block pilot project and now, when completed, will extend from 42nd Street to Martin Luther King Parkway. The Rouen Connector, which safely connects Grays Lake with Waterworks Park. Oops. The implementation of Doug Hare's design for 7 acres, including the Rouen LA and Reflection Garden of the Des Moines Botanical Garden. And the restoration and transformation of the historic downtown Des Moines Public Library into the World Food Prize Hall of Laureates, once again implementing Doug Hare's design to evolve the 50-car parking lot into a formal public garden that in 2019 was accepted into the archives of the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. As I reflect back, I now consider this to be one of the most significant chapters of my life. Working with the community in public and private sectors to accomplish true visible change has been so rewarding. And accomplishing these projects with John by my side was the best of all. Des Moines is truly a special place because the people who live here are passionate about the city and ensuring a high quality of life for everyone. These initiatives were successful because community members, businesses, and city government were willing to work together in public-private partnerships to make our passion a success. It gives me great joy to know our son John and his wife Allison and our daughter Rachel and husband Ben will carry on this legacy of making a difference within our special community and continue the efforts of our family to make Des Moines thrive well into the future. Thank you.
Our next sponsor is Edgewater, a Wesley Life community. Edgewater has graciously provided us with the dessert this evening from Nothing Bundt Cakes, those beautiful bundt cakes on your table, and so we thank them. Please join me in welcoming Connie Beaver, who is the sales director of Edgewater. Welcome, Connie.
Thank you. I have some exciting news for the Sages tonight. You have won an all expenses paid, weekend-long stay at Edgewater in West Des Moines, Iowa. On a serious note, on behalf of Edgewater and Wesley Life, we want to congratulate all of you. You're role models and you're perfect examples of what you can accomplish if you focus on possibilities and opportunities. In our quest to transform the experience of aging, we are helping people realize that the second half of life really can be the best half. Our comprehensive continuum of care ranges from independent living to long-term care and everything in between. We strive to create those experiences that bring joy to all that we serve. By pursuing lives of purpose and fun, you demonstrate that every stage of life really can bring opportunities to all. We want to recognize you as being the movers and the shakers, and thank you for everything you do for Des Moines. Thank you. And take home the cake.
Our next honoree is Ivan Weber. Ivan is a brilliant attorney and historian who is grounded in social justice, fighting for the rights of those who are marginalized, discriminated against, or ignored, said Joel Ola, Executive Director for Aging Resources of Central Iowa, in Ivan's nomination. A longtime Iowa attorney, Ivan Weber's list of professional accomplishments is long. For nearly 3 decades, he represented local governments and municipal utilities in legal issues arising under all aspects of municipal law for Allers and Cooney, PC. But the list of public service is even longer. Much of his life has been dedicated to supporting the Latino community, inspired by his mother. The many community initiatives he's been involved in include the Latino Forum, United Mexican American Community Center, and Iowa Legal Aid, as well as serving on the executive committee for United Way of Central Iowa. He's been active in political engagement and discourse through his entire life, including fighting back against legislation in Iowa that was detrimental to the Latino community. He is the recipient of numerous awards, including the prestigious International Municipal Lawyers Association Marvin J. Glick Private Practice Local Government Attorney Award, which recognizes a practitioner who has provided outstanding service to the public and who possesses an exemplary reputation in the legal community. Ivan is one of the most thoughtful and insightful people I know. He always has a way of relating current events and happenings back to a historical precedent, said Ryan Crane, Director of Philanthropy at the Des Moines Community Playhouse. He is always ready to stand up for and advocate what he believes. Among his sage advice, for the 45 years I practiced law, I always had a note on my desk, rewritten several times, that read, do one hard thing every day. And he says, my daughter told me that's the first thing that comes up on her computer when she opens it. Please join me in congratulating Ivan Weber.
You know, when you have people over 70, you probably should consider fewer steps up. My thanks to WDM, my thanks to Connie, my congratulations to the other sages, and my deep thanks to the Allers Law Firm, which put up with me for nearly 30 years. And I think you don't call out people directly, but I do need to call out two people, Ken Haney and Phil Dorweiler. Phil is not here tonight. Ken is here tonight. True supporters, true mentors, true guides, the sort of thing we all need in our lives. I should also mention the second most patient person in the room, my secretary of nearly 30 years, Gwen. The most patient person in the room, my wife of 53 years, Anne. My son, Justin, who has just tried my patience over the years, although he has some patience of his own, he will tell you that. Nobody gets here by themselves. And the thing I've reflected on are where I came from, my family. My father had wavy, sandy brown hair, very mild complexion, hazel eyes. That also describes my Weber cousins, except some of them have blue eyes and green eyes. My grandfather and grandmother, my father's parents, were Missouri dirt farmers in the Little Cern. My grandfather was Sergeant Major on General Pershing's staff in World War I. One of the regrets of my life was my grandfather died when I was in 8th grade, and I hadn't taken notes, because he would talk from time to time about the conversations he had while driving General Pershing. I missed a lot of good history. Through my father and grandfather, I descend from a guy named Thomas Edward Weber, who was born in Biddeford, England, May 17th, 1629. That's about May 23rd in the modern calendar. He migrated here in 1651. He's the source of my Y chromosome and Justin's Y chromosome. Get your Y chromosome from your father, gets it from his father. My father, when he was a kid, had rheumatic fever, kept him out of school for more than a year. When he got out of school, was allowed to go back to school, as they did in the 1930s, they put him in special education. And my father worked his way out of special education, managed to graduate 2 years behind his class, but as a regular high school student. And my father, through the entire time I was growing up, used to want to introduce me to his friend Percy. Perseverance, which is how he got forward in life. I would suggest that all of us need to meet my father's friend Percy and continue from there. On the other side, my mother, who had an 8th grade education, I should mention both my parents, as long as I could remember, even when it wasn't a good bet, said, you're getting an education, you're going to college. From an 8th grade education and a low education. My mother didn't speak English till she was 5. Her worst day of life was her first day of kindergarten. She went to school. The school teacher did not speak Spanish, and my mother did not speak English. My mother died last year. About the last month of her life, she reverted to speaking only Spanish. My mother would tell me, if it was worth doing, it's worth doing right, no matter how long it takes. People have told me from time to time I'm a little tenacious. I think I just told you why. My mother's parents, the Spanish-speaking immigrants, came in 1912. There's a Spanish word, campesino. The Spanish-speaking people are smiling at me. Campesino means either a country person or a peasant. In the case of my grandparents, it meant peasant. My grandmother's married name was Rodriguez. It was Rodriguez because that's the name that my that the United States of America gave my grandfather. It was not the family name. It became my grandmother's married name, my mother's birth name. By the way, Alba is smiling at me. The United States is still trying to screw up the last names or the family names of people from Spanish-speaking countries. My daughter's name by marriage is also Rodriguez. In this case, it actually is the family name. My daughter also carries as a middle name my father's mother's name, so she's got connections both ways. But here's the contrast I want to give you. My grandmother, Rodriguez, was illiterate. She never spent a day in life in school. Why educate girls? I mean, what's the point? My grandmother spoke English very, very badly with a very thick accent. A working knowledge of Spanish helped if you wanted to speak English with my grandmother. My daughter, her great-grandmother, has a PhD, has 2 published and well-received academic books, teaches Northwestern University. 110 years from illiterate peasant to professor at a major university. That is what immigration and that is what communities like the Latino community bring and can offer and can contribute. If my parents were still alive, I know they would be proud of what's happened. If my grandparents, all 4 of them, were still alive, I know they would be very proud of what's happened. But I'm haunted by another thought. You remember Thomas Edward Weber, the guy who came here 371 years ago as an immigrant? I think he'd be really happy because he had an immigrant experience and he had expectations for his descendants. I think he'd be proud of all of his descendants, even the ones who don't have hazel eyes and fair skin and wavy, sandy brown hair. Mi profundísima gratitud para este reconocimiento y por todos gracias. My deepest, you'll get it this time, my deepest gratitude for this recognition and my thanks to all of you for everything. Thanks.
All right. Our final honoree is Steve Zumbaugh. Steve's not only helped develop numerous cutting-edge visions of what could be, he's also rolled up his sleeves and made what could be a reality, all while always providing opportunities for others along the way, said Quentin Boykin, an attorney with Bellin McCormick, in support of Steve's nomination for this recognition. Steve has been a decades-long community leader with his leadership skills emerging early. Raised on a family farm in eastern Iowa, Steve was elected president of the Iowa Future Farmers of America and national FFA vice president. He was elected student body president at Iowa State University, and at age 23, Governor Robert Ray appointed him to the Iowa Board of Regents. Can you imagine? His community leadership only continued to grow over the years. Perhaps most significantly, Steve was instrumental in the creation of 2 of our community's pillars, the Greater Des Moines Partnership and Bravo Greater Des Moines. He's also helped raise millions upon millions of dollars for key community amenities such as the John and Mary Papajohn Sculpture Park, Iowa Confluence Water Trails Project, and serves as the honorary chair for the current Iowa State University campaign, which has a goal of raising $1.5 billion. Steve, who retired in 2020 from Bellin McCormick, has been a key player in initiatives that have defined downtown over the past several decades, and through diligence, leadership, and mentorship, he has personally played a major role in many Des Moines community development and fundraising initiatives. Among his sage advice, when faced with difficult issues, have the courage to do what is right and not as what is expedient or in your financial or political interests. Today, more than ever, we need people with strong moral values and the courage to do what is right. Steve, we're grateful for your committed leadership and courage to always do what's right in your community. Congratulations.
In 1968 was a transformational year in my life. I was a senior in high school, and I met Robert Ray when he was running for governor for the first time. Our relationship continued when I was student body president at Iowa State University during the Vietnam War in a period of student unrest. Then in 1973, he appointed me to the State Board of Regents. And even though I would be in college for my entire tenure on the board, he appointed me, not as a student, but one of 9 Iowans. Governor Ray was an extraordinary leader. What he would do when there were difficult problems facing our state, he would get the right people in the room that could make a contribution to the solution to the problem, listen to their ideas, and then collectively produce an idea and then implement the plan. But most importantly, and what I learned from Robert Ray, was that he was a man of courage. Rather than doing what was politically expedient or in his own personal best interest, Robert Ray would do what was right for Iowans. Our current political leaders could learn much from the lessons taught by Robert Ray. Next, I was a beneficiary of a great education. I had a high school teacher, and in my senior year in 1968, which was a transformational year in my life when I met Robert Ray, and then this teacher took the time to make certain that I met a professor at Iowa State University. The professor asked to meet with me before school started. And during that meeting in 1968, we planned an academic career. And mind you of this, I was the first in 4 generations in this country to go to college. But during that meeting, the professor had the confidence in me to help me plan an academic career that resulted in an undergraduate degree, a law degree, a PhD in economics, and becoming a CPA. And as a result of that, I've had a rich and rewarding career and life. I owed a lot to Iowa State, and because of that, during the last 4 decades, I worked on 4 capital campaigns, the last being the ISU Forever campaign, which my wife Kathy and I were the honorary co-chairs. And in that campaign, we have now raised over $1.5 billion. Next, I would like to say a personal thank you to Connie Weimer. She gave me my first chance for civic engagement in Des Moines when I was only in my early 30s. She asked me to chair an economic development committee. And based on the confidence that she had on a young lawyer in the Bell and McCormick firm, I have then worked for the next 4 decades in this community in various projects, working with Steve Chapman, Connie Weimer, and many others in this room, including Gene Myers. We formed the Greater Des Moines Partnership. 2 years later, I chaired the partnership, and we had an audacious plan. It was to improve the quality of life in Des Moines by supporting culture and the arts. And the idea was, if we build a community where people wanted to live and work and raise their families, we could get employees here and the skill sets, and we would have a richer community and a strong economy. And what we did was announced a program that would allocate a portion of the hotel motel tax in 4 counties and every community in those 4 counties to support an initiative for culture and the arts. Out of that, we formed Bravo. But what it took, and many of you were in the room who did that during that year, we had to go to 4 county governments, local board of supervisor meetings, all the communities in Des Moines and Greater Des Moines, in those 4 counties, and get them with scarce resources and budgets to allocate money to the culture and the arts. But an incredible act of regionalism. And rather than looking at the interest of our own communities and counties, what we all did in that period was step forward and allocated the money to support culture and the arts in this community. And as a result, we have one of the best offerings in the United States. And for that, I'm eternally grateful for this community stepping up. Went on from there and worked in chairing the United Way campaign, spearheaded the effort to form Cultivation Corridor, and most recently was a fundraising co-chair for the Icon Water Trails project. But last, I would like to thank Kathy, my wife Kathy. I met her in 1968 when I was giving a speech at our local high school. We've now been together for over 5 decades. And for any of you that know me, anyone that could live with Steve Zumbaugh for 5 decades qualifies her for sainthood. Oh, there's one last piece I want to remember. It's been an important part of our lives for the last 40 years, and that's my colleagues at the Bell & McCormick Law Firm. I joined that firm in 1977 with high aspirations. 8 months after I joined, the firm broke apart. Its litigation department left. Its real property department left. I don't think it was because of me that I just joined the group. We were advised that we did not have a firm and that we should merge with a younger firm. But the lawyers and the staff in that firm who are at this table and the table over there, raise your hands, had the courage to say we're not going to merge. We're going to form a different type of law firm. Yes, we will hire those that excel academically, but we also want to have our employees and staff be problem solvers. And for those of you that know lawyers, a lawyer that can actually solve a problem rather than create a problem is a unique professional. But in addition to that, we wanted lawyers who were committed to giving back to their community. And now after 40 years, I had a wonderful career at Bell & McCormick, and I owe my colleagues and friends so much from that firm for professionalism and have given me a great experience and giving great service to our community and clients. In particular, I'd like to thank Quentin Boykin, who was there for the very beginning. So thank you, everyone. Good night.
Such inspiring honorees. Let's give them all a round of applause. The stories of these honorees appeared in the November-December issue of DSM. If you have not read them yet, please go online to dsmmagazine.com to find them, or you can come by our office or call us and we will give you a copy. For stories like this, or for other issues of where to go and what to do, or other inspiring people, we invite you to subscribe to DSM and IA magazine and our digital products. You'll learn about other events like this. And of course, if you have story ideas or you'd like to learn about sponsorship, the information is also here. I want to thank our presenting and supporting sponsors. Our deepest thanks go to you for making this program possible. Let's give them a round of applause to thank them again. We would also like to thank CTI Live Events for assisting us in producing the event tonight. Of course, yes, we can clap for them, yes. And thank you again to the DSM and BPC team and to all of our sages. Anyone who works with me knows I like to end on time. So I'm sorry that we've gone a little over, and I will end very quickly. We are humbled by the accomplishments, courage, and fortitude of tonight's honorees. So I'm going to leave you with a quote from the author Aldous Huxley. He said, "If one is not oneself a sage or a saint, the best thing one can do is to study the words of those who are." We can not only study the words of our very own Des Moines sages, but we can model their behavior and we can model their service to others. By doing so, we honor them and we help to leave a lasting legacy. Thank you for being with us tonight, and congratulations again to our sages.